Welcome to AI World TV, your go-to destination for everything artificial intelligence. Discover the captivating landscape of AI, where advanced technology finds real-life application. Subscribe to AI World TV for webzine articles, reports, podcasts, videos, live events, and latest trends. Hear from top industry leaders and discover how AI is transforming industries and our daily lives.
Imagine a single private computer lab that uses more electricity than the entire city of New Orleans.
It sounds totally made up, honestly.
Right. But you aren't imagining some, distant dystopian future. You're actually imagining Meta's brand new campus in Louisiana, which is currently under construction as we speak.
It is an absolute behemoth of a project.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's basically the physical manifestation of what is happening in the world of artificial intelligence right now. I mean, if you've felt overwhelmed lately trying to keep up with the daily avalanche of AI news, new models, corporate deals, utopian promises, apocalyptic warnings, you are definitely not alone.
Oh, the fatigue is incredibly real. When you're hit with this barrage of abstract technical announcements every single day, everything eventually just blends together into white noise.
Yeah.
You completely lose the thread of how any of it actually changes the real world.
Which is our precise mission for this deep dive. Today, we are looking at a massive stack of sources from the AI World Journal, specifically from mid-2026.
And it is a huge stack.
It's massive. It includes their media reports on infrastructure, breaking global news headlines, economic shifts, human interest stories, the works. And when you lay all these sources out on a table, the narrative through line just hits you like a freight train.
Yeah, the shift is undeniable.
Exactly. We are moving way past the hype cycle. We aren't talking about novel chatbots on a screen anymore. We are entering this era where AI is becoming massive, physical, power-hungry infrastructure that is fundamentally altering global economies and, frankly, your daily life.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to understand why these massive physical monuments to computing are being built, we first have to understand the specific technological obsession driving it.
Right, and the absolute core driver of the entire industry right now is the race for real-time intelligence.
Yeah. The AI World Journal's mid-year analysis highlights this shift perfectly. The industry is desperately trying to move away from large language models that take a few seconds, or even just hundreds of milliseconds, to process your prompt. The ultimate goal is absolute zero latency. Systems that generate instant, seamless responses.
You mean like having a natural voice conversation with another human being?
Exactly that.
Like you don't see that little typing bubble, you don't wait for a server to think, you speak, and it immediately speaks back.
Yes, and achieving that leap from, a slight delay to absolute zero latency, it requires an incomprehensible amount of computing power.
It's just massive.
Right, because the models have to hold vast amounts of context in their active memory simultaneously. And this singular pursuit is exactly what is triggering the current hardware war.
Which brings us to the chips.
Right. The headline that really captures the stakes here is AMD scoring a landmark deal with OpenAI. I mean, for years, NVIDIA has been the undisputed monopoly of the AI chip market.
Oh, totally. They basically built the foundation.
They did. But this AMD deal, it mounts a serious existential challenge to NVIDIA's dominance.
I have to pause you there, though, because I look at a deal like that and I struggle to see the actual mechanics of it. To me, it's like an airline trying to swap out the jet engines of a plane while it's, actively flying over the Atlantic.
That is a great way to put it, actually.
Right, because OpenAI has millions of users hitting their servers every single second, and it's all running on NVIDIA architecture. Switching to AMD isn't just like plugging in a new cable.
Right? No, not at all.
So for you, the listener, does an AMD versus NVIDIA battle actually change anything about the technology for you, or is this just corporate musical chairs where billionaires trade places on a Forbes list?
What's fascinating here is that this competition is exactly what pushes the technology from being a clunky tool to becoming invisible, seamless intelligence.
Okay, how so?
Well, to answer your question about the mechanics, yes, it is a massive technical headache to switch hardware architectures. NVIDIA has this proprietary software layer called CUGA that developers use to talk to the chips.
Right, the industry standard, basically.
Exactly. And breaking away from that requires essentially rewriting how your AI thinks at the absolute base level.
Wow.
But the demand for raw memory bandwidth, which is basically the speed at which a chip can pull data to generate that zero latency response, that demand is so high that OpenAI simply cannot rely on a single supplier anymore. They are deliberately forcing a hardware war because monopolies slow down innovation.
So by pitting AMD against NVIDIA, OpenAI is essentially forcing both companies to push the boundaries of physics to make chips faster, just so OpenAI can buy them.
Precisely. And the immediate real-world result of that extreme processing speed is something like the REX AI agent that's mentioned in the journal's sources.
Right, the customer service one.
Yeah, REX is being deployed for 247 customer service. Because of these underlying hardware loops we just talked about, when you call a bank in the middle of the night, you aren't talking to a robotic menu tree anymore.
Press 1 for checking.
Exactly, that's gone. And you aren't waiting for a human either. You are talking to a highly advanced agent that thinks, processes context, and responds in absolute real time.
But the friction here, and I think this is really the biggest misconception about AI today, is that to get that extreme processing speed, those chips run incredibly hot.
Oh, they generate an insane amount of heat.
They draw massive amounts of current. We throw around the word cloud all the time, which, makes technology sound ethereal and weightless. But AI is not in the cloud, it's on the ground. It requires a staggering physical footprint.
A footprint that is basically straining the limits of our civil engineering. Let's look at the AI World Journal's report on the top 10 AI data centers fueling the future. The undisputed king of this list is Meta.
Back to Louisiana.
Right. They are building a 5-gigawatt campus in Louisiana called Hyperion.
Let's put a 5-gigawatt power draw into perspective for the listener, just so we get the scale here. A typical large nuclear power plant generates about 1 gigawatt. So we are talking about the equivalent of 5 nuclear reactors worth of power demand for a single corporate campus.
It is so massive that energy analysts in the report are literally classifying the single facility as a grid anchor.
A grid anchor.
Yeah, the power demand is so dense that it dictates regional generation, transmission, and utility planning for the entire area.
Wait, how does one private building dictate an entire region's power grid? I understand it needs a lot of power, but doesn't the utility company just, build a bigger line to the campus?
It goes far deeper than a single power line. When you drop a 5-gigawatt load onto a grid, you alter the baseload generation requirements for the entire state.
Oh, wow.
The utility company has to build new high-voltage transmission corridors, step up and step down transformer substations, and redirect power flows that were originally designed for, residential cities.
That's wild.
And it's a global bottleneck. In Australia, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is officially promising fast-track approvals for data centers just to shore up AI investment in the country.
And just a quick caveat for you listening. We're looking at this purely from a geopolitical strategy standpoint. We are not endorsing the Albanese administration's specific agenda. We're just reporting the policy move.
Right. It's just a clear indicator of the global stakes.
But it highlights the panic. Governments realize that if they don't physically construct the buildings and secure the electricity to run them, they lose the global AI race before it even starts.
Exactly.
But if a single tech company's data center is suddenly anchoring a region's power grid, aren't we essentially trading our physical environmental resources for a digital commodity?
It is a profound strain on physical resources, yeah. And the industry is well aware that this is their Achilles heel right now. If you look at the July 2026 data center hardware highlights, the entire focus has shifted to mitigation.
Like damage control, basically.
Yeah. They are heavily investing in network redundancy because if a 5-gigawatt system experiences a localized failure, the cascading power surge could theoretically destabilize the regional grid.
That's terrifying.
And to handle the environmental side, they are deploying something called next-gen CMs.
COMs, meaning continuous emissions monitoring systems. But the report says they are using laser spectroscopy now. I always struggle to picture how a laser physically tracks environmental output.
Well, traditionally, tracking the emissions, heat, and exhaust of a massive industrial facility required manual chemical sensors.
Right.
And those degrade over time. They require constant recalibration. Next-gen CMS fires highly calibrated lasers directly through the exhaust and cooling vents of the data center.
Oh, so it's scanning the air itself.
Exactly. Different gases and particulates absorb specific wavelengths of light. So by measuring how the laser light changes as it passes through the air, the system can instantly calculate the exact chemical makeup of the emissions.
So it gives them a real...
You are listening to the AI World Podcast, your trusted source for the latest innovations, insights, and trends in artificial intelligence, blockchain, fintech, and decentralized technologies. Each episode features expert interviews, engaging discussions, and in-depth analysis of how AI transforms industries worldwide. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest articles and exclusive reports from the AI World Journal, covering everything from emerging technologies to industry breakthroughs. For more news, global events, and access to AI World Society circle gatherings, visit us at aiworld.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed, stay connected, and be part of the AI revolution with AI World Lounge. Thank you for listening.
Real-time microscopic chemical readout without anyone having to climb up a smokestack to swap out a sensor.
Exactly the point. It automates the environmental compliance so the engineering teams can focus entirely on keeping the servers from melting down.
It's an incredible piece of technology, but it also feels like putting a high-tech Band-Aid on a dam that is bursting with electricity demand.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because if you zoom out from the lasers and the servers, you see the local communities having to actually live with these structures. If a tech giant wants to drop a digital factory in your backyard that uses more power than your entire county, local governments have to make a choice. And the sources show that the policy backlash has officially arrived.
Absolutely. The recent legislation out of North Carolina is the perfect case study of this tension colliding with local economics.
It's a brilliant policy paradox, really.
Yeah.
Historically, North Carolina has, bent over backwards to track tech companies with massive tax incentives.
Right.
But right now, they have officially ended their data center power tax break, meaning the sales tax exemption on electricity is completely gone.
Done.
They killed it because the sheer volume of power these AI centers consume makes subsidizing the electric bill financial suicide for the state. Yet, in the exact same piece of legislation, and again, keeping our neutral hats on here, they're keeping the capital equipment tax incentives.
It is a highly calculated surgical strike on tax policy. And yes, we aren't taking a political stance on North Carolina's tax structure. We're just observing the underlying economic chess match here.
So what does this all mean? When you break down the math, the state is effectively saying, please bring your billions of dollars of expensive server racks here. We won't tax the hardware, but we absolutely refuse to pay your electric bill anymore.
Right, you're on your own for the power.
Exactly. It signals that the honeymoon phase of infinite AI expansion is hitting a concrete wall.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows a financial market that is violently colliding with physical reality. The entire tech sector has been operating on this promise of infinite frictionless growth. But you cannot scale infinitely when you are constrained by the actual physical copper wire buried in the ground. And this tension is splitting the economic world right down the middle.
Which we see playing out quite dramatically in the financial headlines from the Journal.
Definitely. On one side of the divide, you have Jim Cramer going on CNBC, loudly arguing that concerns about AI market froth are entirely overblown.
Of course.
He represents the classic Wall Street viewpoint that this massive physical infrastructure build-out is justified by the unprecedented future value the intelligence will create. It's the ultimate buy the shovels during a gold rush mentality.
But contrast that with the AI World Journal's own mid-year market analysis. They are asking directly if we are seeing the first real cracks in market turbulence.
Yeah, a much more sober take.
Totally. They are mapping the shift from the theoretical hype cycle to brutal capital expenditure reality. When states like North Carolina pull the plug on electricity subsidies, that directly impacts the bottom line of companies operating these 5-gigawatt facilities.
Absolutely.
Wall Street loves the profit margins of software, but running AI at this scale currently looks a lot more like low-margin industrial manufacturing.
The market is waking up to the fact that transitioning a neat generative app into utility-scale global infrastructure is breathtakingly expensive. And, it's not just financial vulnerabilities that are being exposed by this physical scale.
Oh, it's security, too.
Exactly. When a technology becomes foundational infrastructure, when it anchors power grids and handles real-time banking, it immediately becomes a high-value target.
And the threat matrix in these reports is genuinely unsettling. The headlines paint a picture of a tool that is simultaneously our ultimate defense shield and our most dangerous weapon.
It's a huge duality.
Case in point. The White House has officially launched a cybersecurity clearinghouse. And again, neutrally reporting this as a factual event in the cyber landscape. The purpose of this federal initiative is to deploy AI to autonomously discover software flaws and patch them.
The mechanism of how that works is incredible, by the way. Instead of human auditors manually reading millions of lines of code, the AI simulates countless execution paths at lightning speed.
Just burning through it.
Yeah, recognizing the microscopic patterns of a zero-day vulnerability, like a buffer overflow. And it writes a patch before a hacker even knows the hole exists.
But then you flip the page in the journal and you see the exact same underlying technology being horribly weaponized.
Yeah, this is the dark side.
The news of a New Jersey man recently accused of using artificial intelligence to create disturbing child sexual abuse videos is a dark, tragic example of this. The generative capabilities that make AI so revolutionary for writing code or generating art are being explicitly exploited to generate illicit, deeply harmful content.
And this is not an isolated vulnerability. The sources highlight that nearly 200 economists and tech leaders have issued a joint warning about the escalating scale of these AI threats. The models themselves are entirely agnostic.
I used to think of AI as a superpowered magnifying glass that just, made human nature more visible. But reading these sources, it's not a magnifying glass. It's a fully automated assembly line for human intent.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
If your intent is to patch a banking server, it mass produces security. If your intent is exploitation, it mass produces trauma.
That is a highly accurate way to frame it. It is a frictionless force multiplier for intent. The exact same neural networks that power that helpful 24/7 customer service agent we talked about earlier, they can be slightly tweaked by a bad actor to mass produce personalized social engineering scams at a scale no human syndicate could ever manage.
Which is incredibly daunting when you realize that this force multiplier is quietly infiltrating the mundane routines of everyday life. We aren't just talking about hackers and federal cyber commands. We're talking about everyday society desperately trying to adapt to this automated assembly line.
And you see that adaptation happening at a grassroots level, too.
Oh, totally. One of the most telling headlines for me was about Widener University hosting a free AI summer camp for high school students in the Philadelphia area.
I saw that.
Think about the paradigm shift there. 10 years ago, a tech summer camp for teenagers meant learning basic HTML to build a website or, like, programming a little Lego robot to drive in a circle.
Right, very basic logic.
Today, teenagers are spending their summers learning how to harness and prompt the most powerful intelligence network ever created by humanity.
NPR recently did a deep dive asking 7 teenagers how they actually feel about AI, and their answers reflect a totally different reality than ours.
How so?
Well, for adults, AI is a disruption, right? It's new. For these teenagers, it is the water they are swimming in. It is the baseline infrastructure that will dictate their future job market, how they research, and honestly, how they interact with objective truth.
It's forcing society to grapple with some heavy philosophical questions. And the media is reaching for historical frameworks to make sense of the economic disruption. For instance, the Jacobin published a piece analyzing what Karl Marx can tell us about artificial intelligence.
And obviously, we are strictly neutral on Marxist ideology. We are just looking at it as an analytical lens the media is applying here. But when you view AI through the lens of labor versus capital, the comparison makes perfect sense. Look at the journal's headline about AI being the next frontier of banking automation.
Right. If a bank replaces thousands of human risk assessors and loan officers with an AI model, the human labor is entirely removed from the equation.
Exactly.
The entity that owns the massive server farm, the capital, owns the entire means of production. It's a massive, sudden consolidation of economic power.
While some analysts are looking outward at the economy like that, others are looking inward at our humanity. The Washington Post published an opinion piece discussing the one human superpower AI will never have.
Which is what?
Well, whether that superpower is genuine empathy, unpredictable intuition, or the capacity for shared suffering, it highlights our desperate need to define what makes us unique as the machines encroaching on our cognitive tasks get smarter.
This raises an important question for you, the listener. Because while we are debating historical philosophy and trying to identify our human superpower, the AI industry is quietly building hidden infrastructure right beneath our fingers.
They really are.
The AI World Journal features an exclusive report on how AI companies are using social media posts as a hidden data pipeline.
The mechanism of this pipeline is something everyone needs to understand. These zero-latency models don't just spring into existence.
No.
They require massive, continuous diets of human language to train their neural pathways. Every time you post a review, every time you comment on a photo or debate a topic online, those interactions are scraped, categorized, and fed into the models.
We are feeding the machine.
Your everyday digital life is the raw material powering the intelligence of tomorrow.
It's a wild realization. I mean, we started this deep dive looking at microscopic architecture, the silicon battle between AMD and NVIDIA.
Yep.
We zoomed out to see the physical manifestation of that battle. 5-gigawatt power grids in Louisiana anchoring regional utilities. We navigated the turbulent economic realities, the shifting local tax laws in North Carolina, the White House cyber defenses, and right down to teenagers sitting in a summer camp in Philly.
It is a total ground-up societal transformation. The theme is undeniable. AI in mid-2026 is no longer a futuristic concept, and it is certainly no longer just a clever software trick on your phone.
It is the physical, economic, and security infrastructure of our daily lives. Here's where it gets really interesting.
If AI becomes so deeply integrated into our power grids, our banking systems, and our cybersecurity that it becomes invisible infrastructure, just like the plumbing in our houses, what happens to that human superpower when the system decides to make a choice we fundamentally disagree with, but we have completely forgotten how to turn the pipes off?
That is a heavy but necessary thought to sit with today. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the physical reality of the information around you, and we'll see you next time.
The future of artificial intelligence is unfolding, and it's happening at AI World Week, the flagship global event for innovation, collaboration, and transformation. This flagship global AI event is designed to connect visionary leaders, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and influential thinkers to explore the endless possibilities of AI. Experience groundbreaking technology that redefines industries and inspires progress. Join thought-provoking discussions on ethical AI, digital equity, and the transformative role of technology in our world. Build meaningful connections that catalyze innovation and drive impact. AI World Week is powered by AI World Society, a global movement dedicated to advancing AI responsibly and ensuring it serves humanity. Together, we're shaping a smarter, more inclusive, and equitable future. Continue your journey beyond the event with the AI World Journal, offering expert insights, in-depth analysis, and the latest trends shaping the AI landscape. This is your opportunity to lead, to innovate, and to transform the world with AI. AI World Week. We invite you to join us and embrace the AI revolution.